Today in our lineup here on The Now, there is a new push nationally to get flavored e-cigarettes off of the market, the big name and donation behind the effort. And we're getting a new reality check on student debt from a woman who expects to repay hers over the next 15 years. Her story is like so many others. We have a look at really how we got here. And a new program is giving kindergartners $50 to teach them about savings. It's part of a growing nationwide effort. We're checking in on how this is actually working.
Thank you, Chris. I'm Amanda Starantino, and this is The Now, Indy on RTV6. A couple months ago, it didn't look like a planned $66 million downtown Indianapolis apartment complex would see the light of day. But last night, the Indianapolis City County Council said yes to plans for a new 13-story complex at 421 North Pennsylvania Street. In July, some councilors opposed the project because of the developer's request when it comes to tax money. In the proposal, the investment company would get 80% of tax money generated on the property for the next 25 years. Ordinarily, 100% of that money would go back to the city. Some councilors also did not like that some apartments would be considered workforce housing, even though they will cost more than $1,000 per month. Workforce housing is usually cheaper than that.
We will have to provide city services to the 400 or 500 people that lay their heads there each night for 20 cents on the dollar for the next 25 years.
And there's a reason it's been there for 25 years and nobody has been successful in placating the neighbors and making a workable project and even getting to the council. So I think that's saying something, and I'm of the mind that a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush.
The proposal overwhelmingly passed the full council. The same 5 councilors who voted against it 2 months ago also voted no last night. Developing story tonight, the body of notorious gangster John Dillinger was supposed to be exhumed as part of a request from some of his family members next week at Crown Hill Cemetery in Indianapolis, but that may not happen after all. Efforts to dig up Dillinger's body at Crown Hill were part of a made-for-TV plan to do DNA testing to see if the body is actually that of Dillinger. But Crown Hill objected to the plan. Dillinger's relative, Michael Thompson, sued to have the plan move forward, but a state permit says Dillinger's body must be exhumed no later than Monday, September 16th. The judge in the case will not hold a hearing in the lawsuit until October 1st. There's no word yet on whether alternative plans are being made or if any of the deadlines will change.
So I had always heard that he was buried on one of the hottest days ever in Indianapolis.
Yep.
So finally figured out.
Notes?
Yeah, I have him in my Rolodex, actually. July 25th, 1934, it was 105 degrees, and that was the day that he was buried at Crown Hill.
Make sure you put it back in the Rolodex, Kevin.
It's there in the D's. I actually have a Rolodex. That's saying something, isn't it? All right, you've looked at the sky long enough. You can see there's some just milky white clouds there filtering sunshine. 90 is our temperature. 87 in Kokomo. Will be just as warm next couple of days. There's nothing that fundamentally changes what's going on until we get to Friday. That's when we'll see temperatures start to change and cool off a bit. A dry evening, stays warm and humid. We'll still be at 77 at 10 o'clock with a partly cloudy sky. These are your overnight temperatures and a launching pad for a run at 90 degrees again tomorrow. We'll be 71 and dry first thing in the morning.
Today, the Environmental Protection Agency announced a new plan to cut down on animal testing. The EPA wants to cut spending on mammal studies 30% by 2035. It wants to eliminate animal testing by that same year. Agency will also fund 5 universities to research alternative methods to animal testing.
There are a lot of alternatives between computer modeling to in vitro testing that we can use to replace animal testing. Oftentimes we find that the animal testing themselves has perhaps misled us on this science.
Now, rat testing is fairly common. The agency says, though, rats' information can't always be applied to humans. Not all scientists are on board with this. Some say getting rid of mammal testing specifically could limit important information about how products affect humans. Other alternatives only paint a small picture about the impact on humans. Now, right now, these are just goals that the EPA set. The agency is planning to lay out more plans within the next 6 months to meet those goals. The FTC is warning companies it is illegal to advertise CBD products as treatments for serious diseases. Now, these companies have said CBD products can cure diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's. Some have even claimed that they're better than opioids when it comes to pain relief. Now, the FTC told those companies that they need to make sure their claims are supported by scientific evidence. If the companies don't take action within 2 weeks, they will need to return money to customers. All right, let's top the newsfeed. Facebook is taking steps to help people who may be thinking about harming themselves. The social media giant is going to filter out content that may encourage self-harm. Facebook studied the issue since 2006, and it says that it consults with experts from around the world. Well, a historic mark for the U.S. workforce. A new report says for the first time, minorities make up the majority of people being hired. This is for workers between the ages of 25 and 54. Experts say women are driving this trend. Poverty rates in the U.S. continue to drop, that number falling from 12.3% to 11.8% for 2018. Now, in that same time, household income growth hit a wall. This comes after 2 years of increases. Also, the number of people not on health insurance went up. Let's get back to our lineup. $50. May not sound like much, but it could be the start of something big for kindergartners.
Parents starts having those conversations early about, planning for college.
Now, a new program is giving kids that money, and it's part of a growing effort nationwide. We're going to check in on how this works.
And Keller, right now.
Welcome back to the Now Indy on RTV6. Hiring Hoosiers is an RTV6 initiative to connect you to the job or career you want or need. Heading into the world of medicine, students at the Area 31 Career Center on the campus of Ben Davis High School are learning how to become pharmacy techs. They have a mock pharmacy inside of the center where they work on measuring, mixing, counting, labeling, and recording the dosages of medicine. For the hospital setting, they are taught how to fill IV bags. Students also focus on knowing how to deal with patient confidentiality and the ethics in pharmacy practices. One former student who's now working as a pharmacy tech says this program provides a better idea of what this industry is all about.
Bringing light to this program, this type of field, is great because it lets people know what the people behind the counter are dealing with.
We do a lot of community give back projects in here as well. We are here to service the community, and I feel like they need to learn that from the get-go by actually going out and doing.
Through the program at the Area 31 Career Center, students can take their pharmacy boards, earn an associate's degree, and get the ASHP Pharmacy Tech accreditation.
Some kindergartners are getting $50 to start the school year. This is happening in Boston, but it may eventually spread to other cities. Annie Taylor is showing us how it's meant to benefit kids later on.
The program Boston Saves gives families a one-time payment of $50, and it comes with a list of stipulations. First, the money will be put into a savings account. Students can't touch the money until after high school and only for college or other job training. And parents can also earn incentive payments. However, families will not be able to collect any interest on the savings account. Instead, it'll go back to the program. Now, the goal here is to get families to start saving for college. And you may be thinking, $50, that doesn't get you that much, not even a textbook. But the people behind the program say the goal is something much bigger.
We are giving people a tool and money, but really what we're trying to do is really start parents and kids thinking about the future early on.
Massachusetts is testing out a similar program, and the city of San Francisco started a program like this back in 2011. It does work a little differently. Now, the kids still start with $50, but every time parents make contributions to the account, the city will match them. And there are more than 50 programs like this around the country. Researchers have found that when kids are part of a program like this, their parents are more likely to expect them to go to college.
Annie, thank you. And almost half of people in college right now and recent graduates say they wish they had started saving sooner. 1 in 5 recent grads say they would have picked a less expensive school, too. So according to a survey by Fidelity Investments. Now, they would also tell future students to research more grants and scholarships to help offset the costs. All right, ahead in our lineup, the calls are getting louder to do something about vaping.
I realized that it was hurting my body and I couldn't play sports as well or just walk down the street as well.
Now, there's now a proposal to ban flavored e-cigarettes nationwide, but ahead we're looking into concerns that a ban isn't the answer.
Only on RTV6 News.
Today, Kansas health leaders say another person's death is potentially connected to vaping, which makes at least 6 cases nationwide. The FDA is being urged to do something about vaping, especially among teens. But is a ban for flavored e-cigarettes the right approach? Some experts are pushing back. Philip Furman knows the teen vaping epidemic firsthand.
I like the cool feeling in my throat and the feeling that it gave me.
The 16-year-old is part of Parents Against Vaping e-cigarettes. He used e-cigs for several years and testified before Congress this year. He claims he bought e-cigs on sites without age restrictions or in stores that didn't ask how old he was.
I realized that it was hurting my body and I couldn't play sports as well or just walk down the street as well.
Now former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg is donating $160 million to stop teen vaping. Matthew Myers is the president of Tobacco Free Kids.
Unless we do something very rapidly, it threatens to erode literally decades of progress of reducing smoking among our kids.
Myers and Bloomberg want to get flavored e-cigarettes off the market.
Because we know that kids who start using e-cigarettes who have never smoked before are far more likely to become cigarette smokers.
They also want the FDA to take a closer look at vape products before they're sold. Last week, Michigan became the first state to ban flavored e-cigs, and this summer, San Francisco became the first city to ban the sale of e-cigarettes altogether. But Boston University School of Public Health's Dr. Michael Siegel says a ban isn't always the answer.
We need to be encouraging adult smokers to, if they're unable to quit using other methods, to consider using e-cigarettes as an alternative.
But when it comes to flavored e-cigs, Myers says there's no evidence they can help smokers quit.
There is very little evidence, actually no evidence presented to the FDA that flavors actually help smokers quit. There's a plethora of evidence that flavors cause kids to start.
1 in 5 high schoolers use e-cigarettes. Philip is hoping those who don't use e-cigs keep it that way.
For someone who has not ever touched it yet, I would say don't. It is an awful path to go down, and you will waste money, you will get in fights with your family, and it's just awful.
All right, well now sitting in traffic, it not only wastes your time, it can really waste your money, and there really isn't one solution to solving road congestion. But Andy Taylor's here with a look at how improved public transportation could help.
Riding a bus or train to work or to run errands may sound less than ideal to some of you, but more people are catching on to the idea as roads get more clogged. According to the American Public Transportation Association, public transportation ridership is growing faster than the population rate. A multi-car family that can get away with having only one vehicle and relying on public transportation could save around $10,000 a year. It's also a lot safer, 10 times safer per mile than riding in a car. Yet still a little less than half of people have access to public transportation, and some cities or voters are slow to adapt to new transportation ideas. But the APTA estimates improving the system has community benefits outside of reduced traffic congestion. Every $1 invested generates $4 in economic returns, and every $1 billion invested creates about 50,000 new jobs.
It may feel a little early to think about holiday shopping, but stores are already putting up their Christmas displays, and they are stocking up with what are expected to be the hottest toys. Working for you, John Mattery shows us what the kids will soon be asking for, so you don't waste your money.
With September just starting, is it too early to start thinking about holiday shopping? Not according to Walmart, which is already listing the toys it expects to be the hottest sellers this holiday season. It's back to the future when it comes to the most anticipated toys of the 2019 season. Walmart says interactive toys like Hatchimals a couple of years ago will again top many lists. Also, surprise toys, where you don't know what's in the box, will also be big sellers. Walmart's hot list includes Tic Tac Toy Friends, Spider-Man Web Slinger. Grandma's going to love that one. LOL Surprise OMG doll. Another singing baby shark, just what we all needed. The new Love to Hug Elmo. And a Build-A-Bear at Home kit. At least that could save Mom some money. But from the dozen that stink file, hard to find toys that kids lose interest in a few weeks after Christmas, like Hatchimals. Spend weeks hunting a toy that's used only a few times. You'll say, doesn't that stink? Which brings us to what could be 2019's Hatchimal, balloon dolls that grow out of a flower pot. Better buy yours soon. If your kids really want one of these, keep an eye out for deals because the hottest toys are often sold out by November, leaving parents paying big bucks on eBay. So always don't waste your money. I'm John Mattery for RTV6.
You may have to concentrate on your TV just a little bit more, but this is interesting. Right in the center of the screen is one cumulus cloud. It's all by itself. It's very lonely. Then at much higher levels, you've got some cirrus clouds. They're made of ice crystals. Temperature's so cold up there. A lonely cirrus cloud will fade away here once the sun starts to set. Warm and humid next 2 days. The weekend is when we'll begin to see a change. That cooler, less humid air rolls in. Thunderstorms on Friday ahead of the cold front, which will change this temperature, knock it back about 10 degrees for the weekend. We're at 90 now. That's down 2 degrees from the afternoon high. There's your wind out of the southwest at 10. We're getting closer to that 8 p.m. sunset. 8:02 tonight. It'll be 8:01 tomorrow. Humidity still up here through early Friday and then way down here as we get to the weekend. A nice trade-in as we trade air masses to a more comfortable humidity level for the weekend. Tomorrow we're already in the 70s when you wake up. A dry start. Temperature 89. May hit 90 again. Really no fundamental change from today. It's just the anticipation of a few more clouds which would cut off the heating. Follow the clock here. Isolated thunderstorm possible. 1 o'clock, not much happening. By 4, that's what I mean by isolated. Certainly no pattern to where they may develop as they continue to push through the afternoon heat and humidity to the east once they pop up. There are your temperatures tomorrow, close to 90. We'll take you through the 4-day forecast. You'll see a change in the pattern in the next 4 days coming up.
Turning to the Now News feed, Walmart and Sam's Club are helping Hurricane Dorian victims. The stores donating $500,000. The money will go to groups like the Red Cross and Salvation Army in both the U.S. and the Bahamas. More than 1,200 polling locations have closed across the South. This comes after a 2013 Supreme Court decision that said that states don't need federal approval to make election changes. The biggest cuts happening in Texas, 1 in 10 locations closing there. Gold Star families looking to Congress for some tax relief. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act caused unintended problems when it came to survivors' benefits. Some saw taxes go up $3,500 a year. Now, a bill addressing the issue passed the House, but stalled in the Senate. 1/3 of people under 30 have student debt. Pew Research says those people are 11% more likely to struggle financially than those who graduated college without debt. We met up with a young woman who says she'll be spending the next 15 years dealing with hers.
I graduated in 2015. I went to Stonehill College. I have federal subsidized and unsubsidized student loans that I got each semester that I was in school. I also have a couple of private loans that I took out towards the very end of school when finances were, getting really tight.
How has student loan debt impacted your life?
If I didn't have to make payments every month towards student loans, I think I could be doing other stuff with the money. I could be saving it. I could be saving for a vacation. I could probably go out more, do things with friends. So it is what it is. I think everyone I know has student loans right now. Now I work for a nonprofit in Boston. So we work with the district and the city of Boston to ensure access and high quality out of school time, so summer learning and after school programs for Boston public school students. I could be in a lot worse of a situation. I could have a lot more debt than I have. I have less than $30,000 in debt.
But how long is that going to take you to pay off?
Definitely 10 to 15 years.
I mean, there's 44 million borrowers in the United States. 70% of college students are graduating in debt. It's a universal problem, or near universal problem.
How did we get into this student debt crisis?
I think to some extent it has to do with the ease of availability of student loans, both federal and private, the rapid increase in higher education costs like tuition, room and board, a cultural push that everyone should go to college, and then beyond that everyone should go to graduate school, and a pulling back of public resources and public investment in higher education.
You can't nowadays pay your way through college. I think even some of the most affordable college programs, maybe it's an online program, you're still going to have debt.
Do you still feel that college is worth the price?
I feel like college is worth the price if college is right for you. I think part of it is finding what works for you and what's going to make you happy in life while keeping that balance of smart finances and kind of playing the long game.
Now, next in our lineup, Dr. Oz is bringing new attention to Alzheimer's. He says that even he missed the signs with his mom, how his story is a lesson for everyone.